Welcome to the final match of the third annual U17 Women's NTC Invitational. And it's thrown up a good one as it's the two-time tournament champions USA facing off against the reigning U17 World Cup champions Japan. I'm your host Mark Serban. It's a pleasure to be with you as for the third straight year the USA and Japan meeting each other on the final day, and for the third straight time it has all come down to this match to determine who will be the championship. The U.S. come in with a 2-0 record, while Japan comes in at 1-1-0, and that means that the U.S. just needs a point to take home the tournament trophy. However, if Japan wins, they will be champions. The USA in 2014, 2015 beating Japan on the final day by scores of 2-1 and 3-1 respectively to take home the U17 Women's NTC Invitational title. In fact, in 2014, that 2-1 loss for Japan was their first loss in over 5 years. Japan's head coach, Naoki Kusunose, says that it's something that haunts him. He has spoken with his players about it. Well, BJ Snow and his side have talked about his women's team, the senior side, winning the World Cup championship. He said, we don't talk about them winning the World Cup. He said, we talk about the journey, everything that they had to go through to get there. And this is part of it, everything that they've worked for, and it all comes down to this. As center referee Danielle Chesky going through the coin toss with the captains, the two number 10s, Ashley Sanchez and Fuka Nagano. Sanchez scored in the final last year against Japan. Nagano is the remaining player left over from that 2014 U17 winning side for Japan in the World Cup. It's the USA in their red, white, and blue. Gone through their chair and they're out onto the field. Japan going their final pregame ritual in all white with pink jersey numbers, making their way out onto the pitch. A good crowd here at Glenn Mooch-Meyer Nick Field for this final match and what has been a riveting third annual U17 Women's NTC Invitational, which earlier today saw the Korea Republic beat England 2-0. So the Korea Republic finishing 1-2, England finishing 0-2-1, or 0-1-2 rather, with one draw and 2 losses. But it all comes down to this. The USA at 2-0, needing just a point to claim the trophy for the third straight year against Japan that can grab it away from them with a victory. The red, white, and blue in red, white, and blue will have the kickoff attacking to the right across whatever device you may be watching this match on. Thank you so much for joining us here on US Soccer to watch two of the best teams in the world at this age group in the final 90 minutes of this tournament, and we're underway. And right away, the long ball for Savannah Coleman, who left the starting gate a bit too soon. So it'll be a free kick off of the offsides call, coming from the assistant referee number 1, Adrian McDonald out of Michigan. Alicia Messer from Arizona is the assistant referee on the far side, while the fourth official is Abigail Von Note. Kennedy Wesley gets it back to Gurma. He's had a sensational tournament at center back, Gurma. Both Wesley and Gurma earning their first official caps in this tournament. And Coach BJ Snow saying of the likes of Wesley and the other younger players that throughout this tournament they have completely justified this selection for this side that is going to go to the U17 Women's CONCACAF qualifying tournament, which will be held the 3rd through the 13th in Grenada. As stepping in his Spanster, and she'll be whistled for the foul, so free kick for Hinata Miyazawa. And she's gonna leave it off for Morinaka. Morinaka will turn 16 next Thursday. Looks like she wants to swing this one in. Now she's going to elect to play it short. Takehira gets it across for Ushijima. But coming out to claim is Laurel Ivory. Ivory got her first cap and a clean sheet against England with 3 saves. Had played in 2 unofficial matches in 2015 with the Stars and Stripes Laurel Ivory, but was exceptional against England as the USA played against a squad of players who pretty much train with professionals, and many of them have already made their senior debut at club level in the English Super League and in the Premiership as well, the league just below that. And BJ Snow said he was so proud of his side for not only hanging with him and finding solutions and having that determination and grit to stay with the bigger, faster, stronger players, but then in the last 10 minutes to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, go on and win it. Then against South Korea, they had a very different challenge in facing a team that sat back deep, and they had to find a way to break them down, and the USA were able to do just that. And he said that that's something that they were going to face in CONCACAF, is teams sitting back deep against them. As Pinto stepping forward. Brianna Pinto's only goal for the U.S. came in this final last year against Japan. It was the goal that iced the match at 3-1. Endo is chasing, and Gurma gets it back to Ivory. Good skill from Ivory under the pressure from Endo. But she overhits her pass, and so it's going to be a throw-in for Japan in the 4th minute. Gurma slides over to defend on the far side. Tigerish defending from Gurma. She wins it back for the U.S. Japan retakes possession, but Rodriguez is there to clear. Karina Rodriguez scoring her first ever international goal to ice the game against South Korea to make it 2-0. But it's Japan on the attack early on. Spanstra looking for options on the far side. Morinaka able to find Fuka Nagano. That's a good ball inside to Takarada. She plays it back across goal, and the U.S. able to scramble it clear. First real chance of the game, and it falls to Japan, and somehow the U.S. fought to keep it out. Takarada playing that ball back, and Karina Rodriguez doing just enough to put off the forward coming inside. And then both Germa and Wesley getting in as well. But it's been all Japan in the early going. Flicked forward. Looking for Jun Endo. Tried to leave it off for Miyazawa. Instead it comes out to Spanstra on the near side. Now she looks to lead the break for the U.S. Coleman. Pinto. An excellent tracking back by Takarada not to allow that ball to the far side. Otherwise, the U.S. could have been off and running into space. Stakihira brings it forward. Wesley and Rodriguez conspire to win it back. And Wesley almost undercooked that pass. Getting out quickly and clearing it downfield is Ivory. And now it's Coleman chasing, looking to put Tanaka under pressure. Takarada. She's bowled over, and it'll be a free kick for Japan in midfield. Takarada had 2 goals and 3 assists in the 5-0 win over Korea Republic on the opening day of the tournament. Nagano. Morinaka rather popped up her first touch. And she gets away with it thanks to the referee's whistle for a foul on Spanstra. Japan playing it quickly, as is their MO. Nagano looking into the space for Miyazawa, but Kennedy Wesley's there, gets it back to Girma, who hooks it clear. The bounce deceiving Morinaka, and Spanstra almost got on the end of it, but over in cover was Fuka Nagano. Takahira. Ono. Ushijima. Into the space for Nagano. Out wide for Takarada. Working one-on-one against Girma. And Girma with another excellent tackle at the expense of the first corner kick of the game for the Japanese. Japan play quickly. Kano, top of the box. Leaves it off for Oweki. Nobody to find in the corner, though, and the U.S. will look to pass their way out of the back. Ivory, who's been excellent with her clearances and distribution in this tournament. And that ball getting held up in the wind. But Rodriguez is over in cover. Good high pressure from Junendo. 15-year-old out of JFA Academy in Fukushima. And this time the free kick will go the way of the U.S. in the 9th minute. It's Danielle Chesky whistling for the foul. And Rodriguez will play it to her center back partner. Over to the far side for Sydney Zandi, who was a real threat with her set pieces against the Korea Republic. And the ball into the channel, looking for Coleman. Has Kennedy Wesley in support. Wesley skips by Morinaka, looking to play it into the mix. Just by Pinto, but at the back post, and the U.S. have an early lead. Excellent job from the young Kennedy Wesley getting forward. And she put in a delicious ball that skipped over the Japanese defense. Perfect move to get across. And then it's Sanchez left alone at the back post to hammer it home. But it all started with the work of Savannah Coleman chasing down that long ball into the channel and winning it. And Kennedy Wesley coming up in support from her outside back position. And the U.S. with a 1-0 lead inside 10 minutes. And they're looking for more here. Weisner on the far side. Gets to the byline. Now walking across it. She's looking to pull it back. And the keeper bobbled it. And it's going to be a corner kick for the U.S.
Goal scored for the United States in the 10th minute by number 10, Ashley Sanchez.
Ashley Sanchez with her 12th goal at the under-17 level in just 9 games. That's not including the goal she scored with the U20 side. Scored in every game last tournament, has been kept quiet this time around, but she comes alive in the final, and the U.S. with a 1-0 lead and looking to tack onto it here via their first corner kick. And the win helping this to the back post, but Tanaka gets to it before Pinto. Weisner prods it forward. Morinaka. Takahira. Ono. Ushijima on the far side. Inside for Ado Kano. Wind beginning to pick up here in Carson, and that will be some real relief for these players. This is low 80s going into the start of this match. Ivory, Spanstra brings it down on the chest. Howe, able to pick out Zandy. Ivory, Gurma. The USA have the reigning champions on the ropes early on. And much of it is down to Kennedy Wesley. Still going, Wesley, dispossessed this time by Miyazawa. And Pinto doing a good job to force Nagano to have to go backwards with it, and Spanstra almost picked it off. Heavy touch in the end, let her down. But if the U.S. can win those balls in the midfield, they can spring counterattacks. And Rodriguez does an excellent job to shield off her opposite number. Ivory's ball right to Takarada, who tried to play it through for Oweki. But it falls kindly at the feet of Laurel Ivory. The 16-year-old who plays her club ball for the Sunrise Sting is pushing everybody up. Don't want to let this Japan team win the ball high up the field. Gurma. Little touch out wide for Weisner. Tried to guide it outside for Sanchez, but instead it's going to go out for a throw-in. 15th minute and the U.S. leading 1-0 through Ashley Sanchez. Hammering home a volley at the far post after a cross had come in. Pinto was in the area. Don't know if she got a touch or it went off the head of a Japanese defender as it sailed toward the back post. Nevertheless, Sanchez made no mistake with the finish, and the U.S. have a 1-0 lead in a game that they only need a point in order to win their third straight U17 Women's NTC Invitational, and for the third straight year take out the reigning World Cup champions at the U17 level in Japan. Takarada. Howe doing an excellent job marshalling down the far side. And the U.S. don't mind Japan passing the ball around the back. It's the entry pass that they have to be worried about. And Spanstra stepping up at exactly the right time. This is a Japan side that you have to be at full concentration throughout the entire 90 minutes. As England found out to their detriment yesterday, it takes just 1 second when you drop your head where Japan will make you pay. England took a lead in the 30th minute. We're still practically celebrating when Japan put together a beautiful passing move and scored right off the kickoff. Is Germa coming out of the back? The long ball, looking for Coleman, showing her strength to hold up two Japanese defenders, and she falls over, and she's going to be the guilty party. Japan had trouble finding ways to break down England yesterday. They've gotten through the U.S. just once in the early going. Clearance off the line from the U.S., but other than that, Japan hasn't really been dangerous. They're looking more threatening here, though, as there's space for Takarada on the far side. Nagano's making her way into the box, but it's won back by the U.S. Jalen Howe lost the handle. And Nagano's into the channel. Tremendous defending from Girma. Adokano brings it down. Coleman forces her to spin back with it. Takehira. Miyazawa, she has her pocket picked, but Spanstra gave it right back to Endo Jun. Very lucky that the ball had gone over the line. Morinaka. Pinto trying to step, but Kano comes away with it. Kano. Ushijima stepping up into the attack. And Girma does just enough. It'll be a goal kick for Ivory. Ivory asking everybody to get up and pinch in. And now Kennedy is shaped out to this near side. Ivory finds her. Kennedy Wesley. Knocked off the ball by Endo. Jun Endo. And just unable to rescue the situation was Morinaka. Morinaka back into the lineup after not featuring against England. Put in a great shift in the first game against the Korea Republic. Tremendous work from Savannah Coleman. And it allows more U.S. players to get into the attack. Although that ball a bit overcooked for Kennedy Wesley, and it'll be a throw-in for Japan. Wesley wins the header. And Sandy comes flying in. And a great ball from Wesley inside for Girma. Another beautiful turn from Sanchez, and an even better ball through, but the offsides flag is up. So close to being 2-0. Sanchez showing she's so much more than a goal scorer. She can turn provider as well. As that ball played through and leaving perhaps just a second too early was Savannah Coleman. Wesley steps in with authority. Pinto wins it back for the U.S. Spanstra nods it on. Back to Pinto, trying to thread it through for Sanchez. Japan able to clear their lines. But the ball will stay with the U.S. Long ball over the head of Sanchez. And Girma is over. Played the first 2 games as a center back, Girma, now playing as an outside back tonight. And here comes Nadeshko. Little touch out wide. 2 players to find in the middle. The cross comes in, and the U.S. doing just enough. Morinaka with a chance to swing it back into the mix, but instead knuckles it right at Laurel Ivory. And Ivory elects to roll it short. 1-0 USA leading midway through the first half on a 10th minute goal from Ashley Sanchez. And Sanchez tried to play it down the line, but Coleman had checked into the center. Takahira. Pinto stepping up. And Jalen Howell intervenes. Sanchez wanted to spray to the far side for Spanstra, but instead it's Japan to go the other way. Miyazawa with a little touch off. Kano. Ushijima has ventured into the attack. Kano again. Germa reads the game so well. Wesley. Spanstra has her pocket picked by Miyazawa. Nagano. Kano. Miyazawa gets it right back from Nagano. Nagano. Takarada in her favored wide position. Nagano steps inside and stepped into one, but put it over the crossbar. And the referee calls for a water break. So midway through the first half, and the U.S. with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of a 10th minute goal from Ashley Sanchez, as the long ball was chased down by Savannah Coleman, and Kennedy Wesley coming up from her outside right back position would get in the cross for Sanchez. As Nagano, what skill. That first touch to get by her defender, second touch to get it out of her feet, and then the shot just over the crossbar. And that was the last action before this water break, midway through the first half. So BJ Snow talking things over with his side. Is everybody getting water on a very hot day here in Carson, although the wind is providing some relief. The USA looking to stay undefeated all time at the National Training Center Invitationals. 8-0 over the first 2 years and 2 matches of the third tournament. Japan looking to end that streak. Nadeshiko, as they are known, one of just 4 teams who have already qualified for the U17 World Cup, coming up from September 30th through October 21st in Jordan. For the U.S., this is their last match before their qualifying campaign in Grenada, which starts on March 4th against Jamaica. And then 2 days later, they play Mexico, a side that they beat 3-1 at last year's NTC Invitational. And they finish off playing Group B against Costa Rica 2 days later. So this tournament set up exactly like qualifying, with a game every other day, as the U.S. looking to get back to the U17 World Cup for the first time since 2012. U.S. and Japan, of course, at the senior levels are ranked 1 and 2. And if there was a way to measure that at the U17 level, I'd be pretty sure that the U.S. and Japan would be pretty close to each other in those rankings, and at least both teams in the top 5. So back underway after the water break. Germa. Her defending has been stellar all tournament long. How? And that ball pushed into the path of Coleman. Takahira matching her for pace. Coleman gets a step on her, puts it to the back post, and the U.S. have a 2-0 lead. Spanstra. Coleman, a little touch by Takahira, puts it to the back post. And I believe it was Pinto who got the final touch. Just a little move to get to the byline, puts it across, and Pinto, for the second straight year, scores against Japan in the final. Savannah Coleman, who's been a titan in this tournament, was the hero with 2 late goals against England, chased down the ball that led to the first goal for the U.S., and now has come up trumps with the assist here for the U.S.'s second goal. Nagano, able to win it off Pinto. Confident sliding tackle there from Rodriguez. Spanstra not giving any room for Morinaka, and finally she just boots it long. And Rodriguez lobs it over Endo and smashes it clear. Velvet touch to bring it down by Morinaka. Love how Morinaka's head is always on a swivel, always assessing her options. Kano. Japan with another flowing move down the far side. And played into space. Lifeline for the Japanese in the 28th minute as they've pulled one back. That is vintage Japan. Jun Endo walking in alone on goal and slotting it past Laurel Ivory, who was left for dead. And it's game on once again here at Glenmooch Meyernick Field. What a showcase this is of 2 of the best teams in the U17 level. Already 3 goals inside half an hour. Now it's Gurma using that closing speed, but this time she'll be whistled for the foul. There's a little touch out wide from Oweki. And Takarada got it into Nagano, and another chance could be here. Laurel Ivory gets down to cut out the cross. Endo. Nagano is pulling all the strings in midfield for Japan at the moment and almost threaded it through there. Had it not hit off Miyazawa, Japan might have been in. Sanchez. Gurma.
Goal scored for the United States in the 27th minute.
Keep it here. They don't get it easy. Come on.
Well, now we're getting word that it was an own goal on the U.S.'s second goal. So Pinto didn't get the final touch. I was wondering why she didn't celebrate a bit more feverishly.
Goal scored for Japan in the 30th minute by number 16, Jun Endo. Assisted by number 10, Fuka Nagano.
And this is the goal scorer, Endo. Miyazawa trying to wrong foot Rodriguez and curl it toward the corner. In the end, couldn't wrap her foot around the ball, and it goes well wide of Laurel Ivory's goal. Nagano with the header. Little touch off from Savannah Coleman. Rodriguez looking for options. In the end, has to get it back to Girma. Karina Rodriguez. Ivory. Savannah Coleman checking back into the midfield. Howe. Weisner. Oh, and Zandy could be in some trouble here, just in the nick of time. Rodriguez with too much mustard on that one, so it goes all the way through to Momoko Tanaka. The 15-year-old rolls it out to the other side. Miyazawa. It's Banstra stepped in before Morinaka could get her foot on it. Wesley. Spanstra was able to flick it on, but Coleman wasn't making the diagonal run in behind. Nagano, the one player they can't give space to, the one time she found it, she was able to slot it through for Jun Endo to walk in and make it a 2-1 ball game. Kano. Nagano couldn't smuggle it through. Kano waltzing her way through midfield. That's a heavy challenge with the referee playing advantage. BJ Snow screaming that he'd rather have the foul there than being under pressure. And Weisner, well, went off of her last, so it's going to be a throw-in for Japan. Takarada. Girma won't let her get the cross off. Doing enough to force it back toward her keeper rather than a cross goal. Naomi Girma, excellent defending against Takarada, one of Japan's most potent attackers. Oweki. Played it behind Endo. And Nagano wins it off of Hao. Endo, little touch out wide for Takarada. Waits for the cavalry to arrive. The overlap from Ushijima. And played right into the arms of Ivory. Japan showing their ability to move the ball around in tight spaces and create openings. Miyazawa wins the header. Pushed forward, was looking for Coleman. And way too much pace put on that ball by Oeki. And now Ivory will take her time and give her players a chance to relax for just a second as we're inside the final 10 minutes of first half regulation. I'm sure there will be at least 2 minutes added on for the water break. And then we've had 3 goals as well. Spanstra combines with Zandy. Wesley jumps into the attack. Has it poked away from her. Miyazawa running at Rodriguez, now cutting inside. Miyazawa, nobody's picked up Takarada over on the far side. Fires! What a save by Ivory. Laurel Ivory has kept the U.S. in the lead with a huge save on Takarada, as everybody caught ball watching, pitched too far in, and nobody picked up the run of Takarada on the far side. That's exactly how they scored 2 goals against South Korea, although Ivory perfectly positioned as she got across her goal to fling herself out and make the save. Spanstra chasing, but the header's won by Miyazawa. Endo. What a deft touch from Nagano to get it back to Endo. And this time Miyazawa will be called for the foul. So a chance for the U.S. to regroup once more. Miyazawa had 5 goals at the U16 Asian Championships. Karina Rodriguez has done a good job to keep her quiet so far. Oh, Japan so far are winning those second balls. And now there's space for them to operate. Just look at the way a new Japanese player joins the attack with each pass. And this time it's Nagano spinning, but getting back well was Hao. And Coleman being told to take it easy as she's chasing a lost cause. Savannah Coleman, who competed at the last U17 CONCACAF Championship back in 2013. When the U.S. lost to Mexico in the semifinals on penalties after being held to a draw. Missed out on a place in the World Cup. And June is it again. Ivory comes out bravely. Well, Endo was in. Looked like she hesitated a bit. Could have hit it there, but Ivory quickly off her line, making Endo pay for that moment of hesitation. And it's because of Laurel Ivory and the last 2 saves that she's made that the U.S. has maintained its 2-1 lead. Endo could very well have 2 goals in this match. Morinaka. Japan has really started to boss the game in the last few minutes. And it's Endo again. Looking for that half yard of space on Rodriguez. Tried to lay it off for Kano. Stepping inside was Sanchez. Coleman gets the ball in a little bit of space, and she smartly spins away from the pressure. US need to just keep possession of the ball here and get their bearings back a little bit. This is Weisner. Excellent work to keep the ball and draw the foul. She really had no other options. Weisner got her first cap against England on her 15th birthday. Howe. And now a free kick in a shooting position for the US after Howe danced her way through midfield before being brought down. And perhaps a bit far for a shot, but Zandy against South Korea had pinpoint accuracy on all of her crosses. It led to the second goal of the night against the Korea Republic. Can she get the service right here? Sydney Zandy of the Penn Fusion standing over it. And it's floated to the back post. Another inviting cross. In the end, Tanaka able to deal with it. Wesley with a smart header back to Weisner. And all the way back to Ivory. Miyazawa. Arokano. 15-year-old with a little touch out wide. And it's nestled forward for Takarada. Back into the channel for Kano. And one back by the U.S. Working 2-on-3. Ashley Sanchez flying forward, skips by one, and too heavy on the ball through for Savannah Coleman, who was making the diagonal run in. But a good idea. Spanstra gets there before Miyazawa. Wesley pushes it out wide for Spanstra. Nudged forward for Savannah Coleman, but cleared away. Takarada. And Germa's there again. The referee indicating that there's going to be 3 minutes of stoppage time.
The referee has added a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time to the first half.
USA with a 2-1 lead. Opened the scoring in the 10th minute through Ashley Sanchez. And then Savannah Coleman got to the byline and pulled back a dangerous which led to an own goal in the 27th minute. But then Endo on the half-hour mark halved the deficit for Japan. And the U.S. will be looking to keep this 2-1 lead going into the break. U.S. needs just a point to win the tournament. Japan need all three. But you know, with the history between these two sides, not only at the U17 level, but at the senior level as well, that anytime they clash, no team wants a draw, even if it will win them the tournament. Endo trying to get by Rodriguez. And that was a crucial intervention from Karina Rodriguez. Nagano flights it into the mix. Took a touch off of Germa. And coming out to claim is Laurel Ivory. Ivory looking for Coleman. Tried to bring it down for Pinto, but spinning away with it is Nagano. She's dispossessed by Hao. Over to the far side for Sanchez. Wisner joins the party. And Zandy will guide it back to her keeper. Bit of a heavy touch from Spanstra. Fuka Nagano lays it off for Kano. Germa cut out the first pass. Couldn't do anything about the second. Kano trying to get to the byline. Rodriguez had to get that tackle right, and she did. The U.S. still on the ropes a bit. As the cross is blocked out, but it's the second corner kick of the game for Japan, who are trying to find the equalizer right on the stroke of halftime. So this could very well be the last opportunity for Japan in the first half. Played short, sent toward the back post, too deep, and it will go out for a goal kick. Two to one, the U.S. at halftime. Ashley Sanchez hammering home a cross from Kennedy Wesley after just 10 minutes at the back post. And then in the 27th minute, Savannah Coleman got to the byline, pulled it across goal where it went off a Japanese defender and into the net to give the U.S. a 2-0 lead. But June Endo restoring hope for Japan on the half-hour mark as she was slid in by Takarada, and she put it past the hapless Laurel Ivory. And after 45 minutes, it's all to play for here at Glenn Moochmeyer Midfield heading into the second 45. So 45 minutes down and 45 minutes to go in the final match at the U17 Women's NTC Invitational. 2-1, the U.S. leads at halftime. We'll be back with you for the second half. NTC Invitational Trophy, and it's the U.S. with a 2-1 lead. Need just a point from this game to be crowned champions of the tournament. Well, Japan needs to come from behind and grab all 3 points. However, they started to take the game by the scruff of the neck in the second part of that first half. We have a substitution for the U.S. Sophie Smith is on for Jalen Howell. Smith scoring the opening in what proved to be the game-winning goal against the Korea Republic on Saturday night. It was her first goal in 9 caps, and now she's on to win her 10th cap. So Smith on for Howell, the only change for either side at halftime. And the final 45 minutes are underway. And Japan able to keep the ball in, but Rodriguez is over to clear. Ivory calls off all comers. U.S. playing their last match before World Cup qualifying at the U17 CONCACAF Championships, which will be held in Grenada from March 3rd through the 13th. USA opens up play on the 4th against Jamaica. Mexico and Costa Rica also rounding out Group B.
Substitution in the
The 2 finalists and the winners of the 3rd place game will go through.
Sophie Smith, leaving the match number 18, Jalen Howell.
BJ Snow saying after the second game against Korea that the younger players throughout the tournament have certainly justified their selection to this qualifying roster. Kennedy Wesley has certainly shown that as she got down the line and provided the cross that led to the first goal for the U.S. this afternoon. Finished off by Sanchez at the back post. Here's another of those 2001s, and Wisner, she has a step on Ushijima. She gets to the byline, trying to get around her, able to get around her, and who does it go off of last? Wisner in the referee's point of view. Oh, perhaps Wisner could have played that one a little quicker, but she worked it in deeper and deeper. And BJ Snow thought in the end she should have had a corner kick. However, the referee looked over to the assistant referee on the far side, who was pointing toward the goal box. So a goal kick for Japan. So we'll get a better sense here. Who it went off of last, and yeah, it hit off Wisner last, so good call from the referee's assistant on the far side. U.S. defending feverishly, and now Coleman winning the free kick. Could have gone the other way, could have been a handball on Savannah Coleman. But the U.S. now have a free kick thanks to the work of that woman, Karina Rodriguez. And Sydney Zandi will step up to it. This one dead on, so it's kind of hard to float it into the box. You have to get it exactly right, so instead the U.S. are going to look to maintain possession. And Pinto, it's a bit of an understatement to say that was a heavy touch. He's looking for Sophie Smith, rather smashed that one well over her. Coleman. Doing tremendous work as the lone striker, Coleman. Now Smith with her first real involvement. Textbook one-on-one defending on the far side by Morinaka. Rodriguez is back to tidy up. And Girma smartly lets that one roll through to Wisner. Endo, the goal scorer for Japan. Takarada. Nagano, the engine room for Japan. Crisp one-touch combination play from the Japanese to open space up on the near side. quickly closed down by the U.S. And it's forcing Ado Kano and Japan to recycle their runs. And Spanstra cuts it off. Sanchez trying to play it into the path of Coleman, but able to step in is Nana Ono. Kano, Nagano, and Takarada are the creators for this Japan side. Good, leading 2-1. Spanstra gets to the byline, pulls it back. And the U.S. still might have something on here. Sanchez looking to engineer that half yard of space to get a cross off. She's able to find it, pulls it across goal, but over the head of Savannah Coleman. Able to track it down on the far side. Rodriguez plays with such poise. Ado Kano has space in front of her to pick out a pass. Girma steps in once again. Ball falls kindly for Nagano. And tremendous work by Kennedy Wesley on the far side. She'll turn 15 at the CONCACAF Championships on the third match day against Costa Rica on March 8th. Kennedy Wesley, Kate Weisner, and Jordan Caniff, the three 2001s picked to represent the side that starts at January 1st, 1999. But as BJ Snow said, soccer knows no age. If you impact training and games, then you deserve to be at whatever level that you are ready to play at. And the U.S. in trouble here, and Weisner steps in. Exactly what BJ Snow was talking about. If you can read the game and play it at the U17 level, you deserve to be on at the U17 level. And the likes of Weisner and Kennedy Wesley have certainly shown that in this tournament. Nagano. Kano. Japan have bossed this game in terms of possession, but the U.S. bossing it where it matters most. On the scoreboard, 2-1 in the 55th minute. Sanchez twisting, turning, and being brought down. U.S. taking their sweet time. Girma was trying to play it over the back line for Coleman. Spanstra battling for it with Takarada. And it goes off of Takarada last, who was shielding it out of bounds. thinking that Spanstra had touched it. Zandy flicks it over Nagano, but can't get past Kano. Takarara. Aro Kano. Endo. Muscled off the ball, and it's 3-on-2 going the other way. Smith. Not enough of an angle to play that to Sanchez. Good step by Rodriguez on the far side. Free kick for Japan. Sophie Smith has whistled for the push in the back.
Okay, stay tight.
Japan just finding those little pockets of space. And once again, shielded wisely out of bounds by Kennedy Wesley. When you look at the teams who were invited to this tournament in England, South Korea, and Japan, BJ Snow said, we invited these teams for two reasons. And the biggest one is that they take ownership of growing the game at this level. So they're all bought together and bonded by that common goal. He also said that each team would present unique problems for the U.S., ones which they would have to learn to solve. England with bringing big, fast, physical players who are also very technical and who most of them every day play on a professional level. Then you have a Korea Republic side who sat back and forced the U.S. to break them down, and now you're playing against one of the best tactical and technical teams. As we'll get back to that in a second, as Coleman with the quick snapshot. Well, the speed of thought matching the skill level there from Savannah Coleman, even though that was behind her, trying to catch the keeper unawares. But Tanaka was well positioned to make the save. And getting back to what I was saying is that each of these teams providing a different test for the U.S., and now you're playing probably not only the most technical, but one of the most tactically astute sides in the world in Japan, a team that never plays the pass that you think they're going to play. When they play a first ball, they're setting you up for a second or third run, as you're seeing here. And the U.S. learning how to defend against that. Kano. Oh, and just behind the attacker. Otherwise, Japan might have been able to spin into that empty space behind the back line. What BJ So says is playing against these teams and having these different kinds of tests will make his U.S. side more versatile going into qualifying, where everybody knows that CONCACAF is all about expecting the unexpected, and you're going to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and the U.S. may see these different things in their different opponents during CONCACAF qualifying, and so that's where this tournament is such a huge plus for them. Right now, not thinking about qualifying, thinking about closing out this match. And they're on the back foot here. Japan looking for the equalizer. And the U.S. able to get in the block and scramble it away for a corner. First of the half for either side. Third of the game for Japan. No surprise that it's played short. Oh, it's a quality ball served in. It still might be something on here at the top of the box. The finishing left a lot to be desired there. Takahira had time. She could have let that drop just a bit more. In the end, didn't catch it quite right. Coleman chiseling her way down the far flank. Still going Coleman, trying to win the corner kick, but the ball stays in bounds. However, cleared right to Wesley. And Wesley wins the throw-in on the far side. Just past the hour mark here in Carson, California. 2-1 between the U.S. and Japan in a match that's being played at the highest level of quality at this age group that you will see. And we're glad that we could bring it to you here on U.S. Soccer and U.S. Soccer's YouTube page. Slipped in for Coleman, played back across. Corner kick, USA. Well, it's been Sydney Zandy for the most part who's been presiding over these dead balls, but this time it's Kate Weisner who's going to come over and take it. So Weisner with the in-swinger from the far side. Floats it in toward the near post. The keeper's missed it, and it's cleared off the line. Smith, well, tried to play it for herself, and instead, the challenge is going to yield a free kick for Japan. As Tanaka came out, went up for it, with Sanchez missed it, and then cleared off the line. Very close to being the third game for the U.S. as we're approaching the water break midway through this second half. It's Japan who's been leading this match in possession, but still trying to break down a staunch U.S. back line to find that second goal. And they might find it here. Finding a bit of space, but shooting right at Ivory. She spills it, and the U.S. are able to wrestle it clear. And then Gurma with tremendous hustle to keep that from going out for a corner kick. So it's just a throw in to Nadeshko. Nagano. And that one played just in front of her. Chance for the U.S. to break. Coleman. Sanchez, scorer of the first goal for the U.S. And then a loose touch from Smith allows Japan to recover. Well, Nagano has found the space in between the lines of the forwards and the midfield. And she gets it off to Ushijima. Arokano. BJ Snow preparing fresh legs for the U.S. It's Tagliaferri and Smith getting set to check in. And a rare miscue from Morinaka on the far side. Smith gets there first but can't get control of the ball, and it's going to be a throw-in for Japan. Stepping in is Rodriguez. And she intervenes again. And it's safety first, but it will be a corner kick for Japan. Their fourth of the game. So Karina Rodriguez and I believe Sydney Zandy are the two players who are going to check out. Well, there were two numbers who went up.
We have two. They're both coming. They're both coming.
Usually you do one player in, one player out, then another player in, another player out. But this time, Both players coming out, their numbers went up first on the board. And the referee hustling them off the field. So Zandy's tournament is done, but it's been an excellent tournament for Sydney Zandy. Incredible holding down the midfield, playing in front of the back four, and then dropping into center back position whenever the center backs have had to push out wide. Well, Karina Rodriguez as well has been a titan at center back throughout the tournament and also picked up her first goal in a U.S. jersey in the 2-0 win over Korea Republic. It's the corner kick played in low. And the U.S. clear it only as far as Morinaka. Ushijima looking for a space to thread it through. Kano out wide for Takarada. Takarada, that's an inviting ball, and nobody latching onto it. And it will go all the way through for a U.S. throw-in. My, did they get away with one there. The U.S. trying to spring Savannah Coleman. Would like to see them just try and keep possession and get their legs back a little bit. This is how Japan wears you down. Every time they lose the ball, they win it right back, and they're right back on top of you.
In the 66th minute for the United States, entering the match, number 20, Mikey Tagliaferri. Leaving the match, number 5, Sydney Zandy. Substitution in the 66th minute for the United States. Entering the match, number 6, Emily Smith. Leaving the match, number 16, Karina Rodriguez. So
Tagliaferri is in for her 13th cap. To add a little bit of class and sprinkle in a bit of experience. And Emily Smith wins her 3rd cap for the U.S. Cleared away by the U.S., but once again inviting the Japanese to come right back at them. Kano. Always have to be aware of Takarada on this near side. Instead, Nagano leaves it off for Morinaka. Into the channel and shielded out of bounds, and this should be the water break right here on 68 minutes. And there's the whistle. So 2-1 the U.S. leads, all the scoring done in the first half. Ashley Sanchez with her first goal of the tournament in the 10th minute, and then an own goal off of a cross from Kennedy Wesley, hit off a Japanese defender. Pinto was on the doorstep, she would have put it in, but it goes down as an own goal. But then just 3 minutes later, Japan came roaring back into contention through Jun Endo at 30 minutes. Since then, though, it's been Japan passing and moving the ball around, but not finding a way past this U.S. defense. And at the water break on 68 minutes, it's the USA 2, Japan 1, as the U.S. only need a draw to claim the tournament title. However, they're going to want all 3 points. Japan needs the victory to overtake the U.S. in the standings. Want to take this time to thank our producer and director, Chase Neidig, and Turbo Sports for all their excellent work to get this game here on US Soccer and ussoccer.com and US Soccer's YouTube page, and to stream it out to the world. As BJ Snow said, these matches, this is what the international game should look like at this level, and you've certainly seen that through the first 68 minutes of this game in the USA and Japan. Had an incredible match yesterday between England and Japan as well. 2 days ago, I should say. We finished 1-1.
Yes, thank you.
So these teams building not only toward the U17 World Cup, but beyond.
Yep, ladies, we're ready.
As it's all about not picking just for teams that you can think can win now, but players that you're investing in for the long term, that you believe have the ability to move up the ranks and teaching them the principles so that as they move into the U20s, they move up to the senior teams, that they're able to just step in seamlessly. And 7 of these players on this qualifying roster for the USA have played with or been in U20 camps. The likes of Ashley Sanchez, who in the U20 World Cup qualifying tournament had 3 goals and 5 assists, including the game winner against Canada. So play back underway. And it looks like Akari Kurata is getting set to check in for Morinaka.
Adrian, we're ready next time.
Akari Kurata, one of 6 players bought by Naoki Kusunose to this tournament, who was uncapped. The other 14 on the roster had played in the AFC Championships. And Akari Kurata made her debut against Korea Republic and scored as well. So all 6 of those players are now capped at the U17 level for Japan. Just as the 7 uncapped players at the beginning of this tournament are now capped for the US over the first 2 games. And some of them, in the likes of Kennedy Wesley, have worked their way into the starting lineup. Here's another one in Wisner. Kano. Takarada on the overlap. Wisner squares up to her and won't allow the cross. Rachel Jones getting set to check in. But first, here comes the sub for Japan. As Morinaka's tournament is done. Excellent work from Morinaka, and happy 16th birthday to her, as she will turn 16 on Thursday. Kano. Coleman. All she can really do under the pressure of Nagano is push it forward. Japan coming in wave after wave of attack. Kurata's first real involvement of this game. And she's well policed by Wisner. Spanstra steps in to win it back for the US. Too far ahead of Coleman. Oh no. Coleman screaming for everyone to push up with her. But instead it's going to be space for Japan to bring the ball forward. As with Kurata coming in, Takarada has now moved from an outside midfielder to a center back. And this time Kurata whistled for the foul. And now Rachel Jones will get the next entrance from the bench for the US, as she comes in for Spanstra. Rachel Jones winning her 8th cap out of Top Hat SC in Georgia. Lawrenceville, Georgia native, had an assist against Korea Republic. It was a gorgeous move as she intercepted the ball in the box and skipped by a defender to get to the byline before pulling it back for Sophie Smith to prod into the empty net. And all the way back in 2014, Rachel Jones had 2 assists against South Korea in South Korea. Sophie Smith leading the break for the US. Dragged down. BJ Snow calling for a foul. The referee not interested. Wisner. Oweki almost won it off of her, but instead it's going to be a throw-in for the US in the 73rd minute.
Keep it.
Nagano steps in front of Wisner. Little pirouette to get away from her. And from Jones as well. Kurata.
Substitution in the 72nd minute for Japan. Entering the match, number 12,
Nagano pulled it into an interesting position, but nobody was there for Japan yet again. And the U.S. getting their signals crossed. Can Nagano make him pay? Back to Kurata. Kano engineers a half yard of space, but puts her shot over the net.
Substitution in the 74th minute for the United States. Entering the match, number 13, Rachel Jones. Leaving the match, number 7, Alexis Spanstra.
That's what Kano can do. And the U.S. inviting the shot, not coming out quick enough. However, Kano, you could see on the replay, leaning back as she shot. Finishing has really let down Japan in this game, and the U.S. remains 2-1 up. Into the space for Coleman. Japan will use their release valve and their keeper. Oh, it's stepping into Sanchez. Huge save from Tanaka. Japan almost pressing the self-destruct button, but the keeper comes to their rescue. Jones. Japan come away with it. Fizzed over to the far side. Long searching ball was looking for Oweki. U.S. able to get it clear to Wisner. Nagano hounding her and forcing Wisner into the turnover. Miyazawa.
Rachel, make sure we're matched up.
Play back toward the top of the box. And the U.S. have been winning those battles, certainly in terms of the first ball, but not the second. And now a foul against Sanchez, and it's going to be a free kick from a very dangerous position for Japan. And the trainer is being called out as there was the errant pass, and Sanchez was in a chance to possibly ice the game. But Tanaka did so well to come off her line quickly and cut down the angle. Rare lapse in concentration from the Japanese, and Sanchez pounced on it. But Tanaka with a great save. And now both teams coming over to their, well, the U.S. going over to their bench. Japanese players, some of them going over to the water bottle behind the goal, while other players are going over to the bench. And some of the players on the Japanese side have gone behind the goal. They've gone off the field. And you're not allowed to leave the field of play without the referee's permission, even during an injury break. So if those players did, in fact, step over that end line, then they could very well receive a yellow card.
Indirect? Is it indirect?
I don't think that Danielle Chesky is going to give any yellow cards out, but by the letter of the law, they certainly could be administered. Nevertheless, it's a chance for Nagano, straight from the set piece.
Naomi, mindful of the runners. Be big.
It was Endo who went down under the challenge of Sanchez. Looks like she's going to be okay.
Yes. No, right here, sub.
See, step right. Step right, take away that far post.
And it is Nagano right into the hands of Laurel Ivory.
So, you're... Is she coming on or no? Substitute?
Final 12 minutes of regulation. USA leading 2-1 on goals from Sanchez and an own goal on a Japanese defender on a cross from a free kick for Japan. So the cross came in from Savannah Coleman that led to that own goal. And now the substitution is it's the injured player June Endo who comes off. And entering for her is Haruka Mura. As Mura had the goal against England in the 1-1 draw in the 31st minute. Now coming on for what will be the final 10 minutes plus change is Izzy Rodriguez and Taryn Torres. Tagliaferri weaving her way through midfield, dispossessed. Otto Kano. Oh, and what a move that was from Oweki. Opens up the space for Kurata. Played it behind Oweki. And good recovery run from Brianna Pinto to latch on to the end of that. Jones. Once again, the U.S. really just no options. Nagano. Kano. Got by Sanchez, but couldn't get by Jones. Coleman.
Substitution in the first minute for Japan.
Tremendous shielding by Coleman. And now the U.S. can get players forward. Wesley steps into the attack.
Number 16, June Endo.
And this is better from the U.S. Smith dispossessed on the far side. But Wesley's back and steps in with authority. Plays it all the way through. Inside the final 10 minutes of regulation here in Carson. And the U.S. holding on to a 2-1 lead over Japan. Can the U.S. hang on and sink the reigning U17 world champions for the third straight year here at the Women's U17 NTC Invitational? Ooh, and a miscue from Laurel Ivory. Oweki unable to take advantage thanks to the intervention of Girma. Pinto. Won it the first and second time, but wasn't third time lucky. Nagano. Give Nagano an inch, she'll take a yard. Sanchez gets in and forces it off the foot of Kurata. Just look at that for work from Savannah Coleman. Just never seems to run out of gas, Savannah Coleman. As Jones wins the free kick for the U.S. And now here comes the substitutions. As Torres will come in for Pinto. Pinto really locking down the midfield. And Kate Weisler's night is done as well as Izzy Rodriguez steps on the field for her. So Rodriguez will have the free kick.
It's up there, it's up there. Move it, move it. Abby, you good with that? Yes, thank you. Okay.
Rodriguez out of the Michigan Hawks. Torres plays for FC Dallas. Tagliaferri. Nagano. U.S. continuing to repel everything that's being thrown at them. So they're hanging on for victory, which would give them the title here.
Ready for the first ball out.
And what a huge boost of confidence this would be heading into CONCACAF qualifying at the beginning of March.
Entering the match, number 11, Izzy Rodriguez. Leaving the match, number 19, Kate Weissner. Entering the match, number 2, Taryn Torres. Leaving the match, number 8, Brianna Pinto.
Confirmation of the substitutions heard over the PA speaker.
The score remains United States 2, Japan 1.
Coleman flicks it on for Sanchez. Nagano won the battle of the number 10s. Ball given away in midfield by Torres. Kurata skips by Rodriguez. Rodriguez able to get back to him, square up to her. Stepping into the channel is Kano, and that's a tremendous challenge by Izzy Rodriguez to win the goal kick for the U.S. That's what you have to love about this U.S. side, is Rodriguez got beaten on the first ball, but then comes back inside to make sure she doesn't on the second. U.S. always giving those second and third efforts. This ball comes all the way back to Nana Ono. Out wide for Takahira. Up the wing for Miyazawa. Takarada. I think Japan lost a little bit of its spark when Takarada went back to center back. And shielded out by Ushijima. Nagano turns in the pocket of space, invited to shoot. Laurel Ivory at full stretch. It looked to be tailing away from goal, but you can never be too sure. Ivory, who's been excellent with her feet, almost found Smith on that occasion. As that shot came in, and Ivory flying across her goal, and a great job not to let up the rebound. As Garma steps into the passing lane. And anywhere will do at the moment, as we're getting word that there will be 3 minutes of stoppage time. So still work to do for the U.S. here. Cleared away by Jones. Coleman stripped of the ball. And now Takarada leaving her center defense position and going forward. So an extra attacker for the Japanese. As Girma wins the first header. Japan has won a lot of those second balls though. And they win the free kick as well. So Nagano plays it quickly. Oh no. Far side. Lockdown defending from Kennedy Wesley once again, forcing that ball back. Played into Takarada, who snuck into the box and fires just wide. Well, the USA getting away with one there as Takarada stepped out from her center back position. You have to feel she's going to stay up for the remainder of the game. Trying to pick out that far corner. Perhaps should have gone for placement instead of power, but another excellent run into the channel as we're into the last 20 seconds of regulation, plus the 3 minutes of stoppage time, and another push against the U.S. Japan have just come after them. in wave after wave of attack, yet the U.S. has so far repelled everything their way. And a reminder that Japan need 2 goals in order to win the tournament, as we are now into stoppage time and 3 minutes being shown by the 4th official, Abigail Von Note.
The referee has added a minimum of 3 minutes of stoppage time to the end of the match.
Goals in the 10th minute from Sanchez, an own goal for Japan in the 27th, but then they pulled it back to 2-1 in the 30th through Endo. And now for Jones. She wins the free kick, and that's huge for the U.S. As I was just about to say, for Jones, the whole goal is to keep the ball and get it in deep, and then just keep it there. And so a yellow card is going to be administered for time wasting. So Sanchez will get the yellow. BJ Snow is incensed on the touchline. And more time is going to go off the clock, but more time will be added on as well. Left on for Sanchez, who's going to take this to the corner. Sanchez trying to hold on to it, and it will be a Japanese throw-in. Chance for the U.S. to lock in, though, and not allow Japan out, and they do just that. Rodriguez gets it forward. Jones wins the throw-in for the U.S. They have one hand around the trophy, the U.S., as we're heading into the final minute of the minimum 3 minutes of stoppage time. All the scoring done in the first half, and the U.S. would like to keep it that way. Sanchez battling. Still in, and it'll be a goal kick. Final 30 seconds plus change. Torres headers goes backwards. And Wesley wins it. And Gurma clears. Smith trying to turn. Nagano had her hand all over her. Jones was able to fight her way through. And now Coleman. Anywhere will do at the moment for the U.S., but they have to get a good clearance. That's a bit better. Takahira has to bring it under control. And the whistle goes, and the USA are the 2016 U17 Women's NTC Invitational Champions. As for the 3rd straight year, they defeat Japan on the final day to claim the trophy, as they win on this occasion 2-1. Goals from Ashley Sanchez in the 10th minute, an own goal off of Japan in the 27th. And even though Endo was able to pull one back for the Japanese in the 30th, the U.S. hang on for all 3 points as they finish undefeated and for the 3rd straight year winners of the National Training Center Invitational. Japan had to have possessed the ball for at least 80% of that game, but the U.S. kept their defensive shape and defended with real verve and vigor and fought tooth and nail for all 3 points, and they remain undefeated over 3 years of the NTC Invitational. The U.S. is now 9-0-0. And for the 3rd year running, they will lift the trophy. Japan beating Korea Republic 5-0 to start the tournament, but then tying England 1-1 before falling 2-1 to the U.S. USA, meanwhile, started off with a 2-0 win over England with 2 goals in the final 10 minutes from Savannah Coleman. and then claimed victory over the Korea Republic by the same score line, with Sophie Smith and Karina Rodriguez scoring their first goals in a U.S. jersey. And then on the final day, Ashley Sanchez, who had been kept quiet in the first 2 games, stepped up to score her 12th goal at the U17 level. And Savannah Coleman forced an own goal. And it would be enough as the U.S. hangs on for the 2-1 victory and are perfect going into qualifying. Is now Japan being presented with the runners-up trophy.
U.S. Soccer would like to thank Japan head coach Naoki Kusanose and the Japan Football Association
Naoki Kusanose and Japan being given their recognition as Jim Morehouse passes on the plaque to the captain, Fuka Nagano. Always such an honor to watch Japan play, especially at this level. Their technique, their passing, their movement, just light years ahead of so many nations. All starts with the work that's done at their U13 and U15 national training centers across Japan. And then their U17 is their first squad that they have at an international level. But the USA have shown that they're right on that level with Japan. And even above it as they come out 2-1 winners today, and for the 3rd straight year finish ahead of Japan in the standings in the NTC Invitational, as now they get ready to receive the trophy. Japan being applauded on the far side, and rightfully so. So fortunate to have them come over that we get a chance to watch them play, but we're also fortunate that we have these girls right in our backyard. So much quality on this team. So much promise for the future of U.S. soccer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Soccer is proud to present the winner of the 2016 Under-17 Women's NTC Invitational Tournament, the United States of America.
Ashley Sanchez lifts the trophy, and the U.S. are champions for the 3rd straight year in the 3rd annual U17 Women's NTC Invitational.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the 2016
There's your picture of the future of U.S. soccer, and it looks bright.
Invitational Tournament. Thank you very much for your attendance, and please arrive home safely.
As this is the U.S. team that in a few weeks' time will be heading to the Caribbean for World Cup qualifying in the CONCACAF Championships, and we wish them all the best of luck. But for now, it's the perfect send-off as they beat Japan 2-1 and win the 3rd annual Women's U17 NTC Invitational. Signing off for the final time from Carson, California, I'm Mark Serber saying thank you so much for watching on USsoccer.com and U.S. Soccer's YouTube page as the U.S. are victorious over Japan 2-1.